Okay, great. So, yeah, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here and for sharing your time and attention and coming together in this community to practice NVC. I am a certified trainer. My name's Ella Ramos, Eloisa, but most people find it easier to call me Ella. And Jim is a beloved friend of mine. He also certified me. He was my assessor, and now we hang out on Zoom and talk for long periods of time and exchange ideas, and just really appreciate his vast web, and really am longing to meet my own needs for contribution and community and connection today. The topic that I'm offering today is around empathy. And it's something that I think I deepen into my integration of connecting to the concept of empathy. And I have yet to experience a sense of, oh, I know that, and I don't need to learn about empathy anymore. And in my work as a psychotherapist here in Taos, New Mexico, I find that it's the foundation of my work, my ability to support clients pretty much across any diagnosis, and my relationships, primarily to myself. I'm grateful that I came here, because just before we started, I went, oh, have I given myself empathy? Have I given myself empathy today? So I'd love to start us off by introductions. And in these introductions, I like to do something on Zoom called body empathy, movement empathy. And so what that involves is, please share your name and where you are in the world. I'd love to know. And then if you would be willing to share a movement that represents how you feel. So I will start us off. My name is Ella. I live in Taos, New Mexico. And right now I'm feeling. And then as a group, I invite you to mirror that and do the movement that I'm doing. Yeah, get yourself into it. Thank you. Thank you. And who would like to go next? How about I call, oh, yes, Sarah.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Sarah Joy. I live in Seattle, Washington, and I'm feeling.
And then we all do it. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. And for me, this is a way of sharing what's alive in us without words and having our expression reflected back without words, and having the experience of being witnessed in a nonverbal way. So who would like to go next? Yes, go ahead, Cecilia.
Yeah, hi, I'm Cecilia Kramer. I'm currently in Mountain View, California, and I'm feeling
Mm.
Thank you. Thanks, Cecilia. Would it be more efficient if I called on people, or do people want to volunteer?
I'll go.
Okay.
Okay. So Carolyn, and I live in Vancouver, BC. And I'm feeling at the moment, I don't know if you can see my heart. Mhm.
Thank you.
I'll go. Oh,
Yeah, Amber and then Elia.
I'm Amber. I live in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, and I am feeling
Thank you. Yes, Elia.
I'm Elia, and I'm in Taos, New Mexico, and I'm feeling
Thank you. We got some thumbs up from Dawn. Oh, you're muted, Dawn, if you're saying something. You're still muted. Yes, Sterling, do you want to? We can't hear you, Dawn.
Oh,
There-
well, aloha. And
Hi.
the lady that was just from Vancouver, BC, I'm about 40 miles south of there in Bellingham, Washington State on the British Columbia border.
Great.
So we're neighbors in the Northwest. There you go. There's a rhyme. And thank you for guiding us tonight, being our host. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. You want to share a movement with us, Dawn, about how you're feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling happy and satisfied and grateful. I'm going to be 83 pretty soon. So that's really more than I ever guessed. Oh, boy.
Fantastic.
And I
Do you-
started with ABC in Santa Barbara, California.
All right. Thank you, Dawn.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Sharing. I'd like to go next. Sterling.
Yeah, I came on a little bit late, feeling a little bit tired and having Vancouver, Canada. And as I sit here, I'm sort of wiggling and wiggling my back, and oh, it feels good to wiggle the back and stretch. Yeah,
Thank you, Sterling. Thank you. Thank you for that back stretch.
I'll go.
Yes, Carl.
So I'm in North Carolina, and I just like the idea of warming up, and then applying them to my stiff neck. I've been thinking too much thinking.
Thank you, Carl. Who would like to go next? Just your name, where you live, and a movement that illustrates how you're feeling.
Okay, well, I'm Donna. I'm from Vermont, and I'm feeling
Thank you, Donna. Yeah, appreciate that. It's nice for me too to embody all of these different feelings. Yeah.
Deborah's hand flashed. Deborah Gibson.
Deborah and okay.
Deborah from Santa Barbara, California. And I like the moving. So I feel kind of tired, but really I feel like jumping like dolphins and just moving and flowing a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Since we're popcorning, I'm not really keeping track of who's shared and who hasn't. So please jump in if you haven't shared yet and you want your voice to be in the room, the Zoom room. I'm hoping to hear from everybody. It's just your name, where you live, and how you're feeling.
Yeah, Jen here.
Jen and
live-
Juliana, go ahead.
Yeah, Jen in Alberta, on a farm just north of Calgary right now. Yeah, I'm feeling cold. Yeah.
Thank you. Juliana.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Ella. Hi. Nice to see you again. And I'm Juliana from India. It's morning here, and just this is namaste to everyone and to myself from India.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And for anybody who's not on video and doesn't want to get on video to do a movement, please feel free to just share a word or two about how you're feeling instead of turning on the camera, if that serves you better. I'd love to hear from anybody who wants to share. I see Josie that you've unmuted, and then Kanchan.
Hi, I'm Josie.
Hi. Hi.
Oh, sorry, somebody else talking.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
This is
That's right,
Kanchan
go ahead.
from India. My video, I'm having some issues with my video as well as my connection. So I'm just trying to sort this out. Feeling lovely, feeling ready to take on the day. So it's like a big hug that I'm demonstrating. Unfortunately, you cannot see me to take on the day because I've had my hour of yoga and meditation, and so charged and so excited to listen to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kanchan from India. Thank you.
Thank you, Kanchan. And Josie, did you want to share?
Am I sharing where I'm from and how I'm doing? Is that what we're doing?
So it's a gesture. You don't have to tell us how you're feeling. My invitation is for you to do a gesture that represents how you're feeling.
Okay.
And then for us to do that gesture.
Okay. I'm Josie from Richmond, Virginia, and I'm sorry. I have to turn this video off because this is confusing. I'm sorry. My
do you want to see
that's better. Okay, sorry. Here's my gesture.
Got it. There you are. Thank you. Anyone else? So cool to have people from all over the world. Thank you for being here. I am having flashbacks from my 3 days in Phnom Penh. Rainy, rainy days. So I'd like to shift, and I'd like to share with you about empathy. And I'm going to share some documents here in the chat. I believe there's a way for me to post to everybody a document. And I'd love to share with you about some of the non-empathic habits that us humans can get trapped into. And I've been studying NVC for over 20 years. I was deeply embedded for 16 years before I began my certification journey. And yet some of these So this is you can pull this document up, but I'm also going to just do a share screen. I can manage that. I apologize for the lag in my screen share. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So this is some of our not empathy, disconnecting habits when people share. Offering reassurance, I'm really good at that one. Advising, maybe wanting to jump in with ideas. One-upping. You think that's a big deal. Well, wait till you hear what happened to me. Educating, storytelling, shutting people down. Sympathizing. Oh, you poor thing. You had anybody ever tell you that? Poor baby. Interrogating, explaining. Well, the reason I said that, I hear that I see that you're upset. The reason I said that is, or correcting, but that's not what I said. That's not what happened. And so I share this with you because it can be really helpful to be aware of the world, the model that we're coming from, that we're unlearning, to have the ability to be in presence. Is there anybody who wanted that screen share to stay up? Can I move on? And so I'd love for us to play a game as a group. And that game is pick your form of disconnecting statement and let's play with it. So I'm going to say something, and based on volunteers, my invitation is for you to pick one of these non-empathic responses and try it on me so that we can all hear what that looks like and feels like. Is that clear? Are there any questions about this exercise?
So
We're
right now
going to
you're
do
The screen is blank.
so Ella, right now you're sharing your whiteboard instead of your handouts.
oopsie. How's that?
Good.
Okay.
Can
So
can we add to the list?
do you have one that you feel is important to add, Sterling?
Expert advice.
Expert advice. Okay, well, we'll put that under the advising, but we'll just remember that it's expert advising. And so I'm going to say something, and then we'll see we'll go down each one and see who wants to role play that particular non-empathic response. So I'm going to make a statement. I found out that my house needs a new roof, and I'm feeling really stressed and anxious about that. So that's going to be like my statement. So who wants to offer me a reassuring, consoling comment?
Oh, it's so great that you found out before the rains have really hit, because it can be so, and you got the chance to fix it. You must be lucky.
Yes, perfect, Sterling. Thank you. Great example of a consoling comment. Okay, I'll say it again. I found out that I need a new roof, and I'm feeling stressed and anxious about that. Who wants to be advising in response?
You know, you need to get multiple bids. You want to get, you know, at least 4 or 5 bids, because that's, you know, some roofers will just fleece you.
Thank you, Carl. That's so, it's so great. It's so realistic. Oh, great. I can already feel myself going, "Ah, don't tell me what to do." Oh, thank you. Okay, I found out I need to get a new roof and I'm feeling so anxious and stressed. Who wants to jump in and one up this?
Oh, I could do that one. That's nothing at all. I had such a big problem with my house. Oh my goodness, it was crazy. I had an electrical issue, ruined all my appliances. I'm telling you, it was really awful. Your roof is just nothing compared to that.
You know, look at the time. I just realized that I have an urgent call to make, Carolyn.
Yeah, right.
That's how I might deal with that. So I need a new roof. And I just learned that, and I'm feeling so anxious and stressed. Who wants to educate?
Me, Roxana. You know, it's a good idea if you go get a cold shower or, you know, have a cup of coffee.
Okay. Yes, thank you. You're educating me on how to cope with my anxiety. Thank you so much. I just found out that I need a new roof and I'm so anxious and stressed. Who's gonna do storytelling?
I'll do it. I'm Josie.
Josie.
This is a real thing. This is what I would have said from my own experience. Oh my gosh, let me tell you about when that happened to me. My husband had just died. My children were all in school. They were away from home. I was there by myself. I'd been on retreat. I walked in the door and water was pouring through the roof onto the kitchen counter. And yeah, I broke out in hives.
That
How
is
about that?
Can
you imagine?
Story. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Thank
my
you.
story.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I'm sure you feel better now.
I feel so much better. Thank you, Josie.
Welcome.
So I feel so stressed and anxious that I found out I need a new roof. Who wants to shut me down?
Ella, you should know it's time for a new roof. You should have seen this coming.
Oof. Ouch. Thank you, Jen. Yeah. I'm so stressed and anxious about this new roof that I have to get. Who wants to sympathize?
Oh, you poor thing. I feel so bad for you having to go through that.
Thank you. Thanks for doing that. I always need reminders of that one. That's where I can slip into. I can let my empathy slip into sympathy if I'm not careful. And they're not the same. So thank you, Amber. Josie, can I get to your raised hand when we're done with this exercise? Great, thanks. Sure. So I'm so stressed and anxious about this new roof. I just found out that I had to get it. Who wants to interrogate me? Somebody who hasn't tried yet? Somebody want to try to interrogate me?
Sure, I will. So Ella, where is it leaking?
You know, it's not leaking. It's a preventative replacement.
Oh, that's good. And how big an area needs to be replaced?
I'm too frustrated to continue this conversation.
Okay, good job then.
Thank you. All right, we got our last two. Let's see who wants to jump in. I'm so stressed that I have to get this new roof done. Who wants to explain? Anybody want to explain anything to me?
Yeah, well that's how it is, you know, you need new roofs every certain number of years, you know, a roof needs to be replaced, and it's because of several different factors, and I can look in this book and I can tell you exactly what those factors are.
Thank you for that, Donna. I have a lot more clarity now. I'm so stressed that I have to get this new roof replaced. And I just found out I have to spend all this money. Who wants to correct me?
You better hurry and do it before the roof comes down on your head, Ella. This is really something that needs your attention immediately.
Thank you, Juliana. I feel much better now. Fantastic. So I hope that this was as fun for you as it was for me. It can be a great way to kind of highlight, you know, this behavior, these strategies that are so habituated and can be sometimes very unconscious and can have the opposite of their desired effect. And so I'm going to stop the share and then I will take some questions. Josie, please.
Thank you. So one of my mentors taught me once that the appropriate response for someone that's suffering deeply is to first say, offer some, well, he called it compassion, and saying, I am so sorry that you have to go through this. And then, I guess to empathize, ask if there's anything you can do. Isn't there a place for saying, I'm really sorry you have to go through this? I say that to people, and that's a form of sympathy. I guess if that's all I said, then that would be unhelpful.
Yeah. What do other people think about that kind of, when they receive sympathy, can it be helpful? I know that in my experience, sometimes that can be helpful. And sometimes it can be, for me, I would say, there's a spectrum of sympathy, like a sympathy on this side of the spectrum and empathy on this side. And if the sympathy that I'm getting is kind of mixed with empathy, somehow it lands very differently than if the sympathy is further away from empathy. Oh, you poor thing. Oh, you know, oh, how awful for you. Oh, I was in your situation. You know, I just would be a mess. Right. So I would say that, you know, I think all of these strategies, maybe not the shutting down, but I think a lot of these strategies have their place depending on our intention. And if our intention is to connect, I personally find that when I start with empathy, then there's that connection and presence. And then I can tune into what would support you. What would support you now? Would you like some advice? Would you like some of my, feedback? Maybe some people want a consoling statement, right? So it really, for me, is about having a choice about it, Josie. Not so much that there's the right way and the wrong way, but to have a choice about it and to have intention with, do I want to be providing empathy? Do I want to be providing sympathy, or am I going on automatic? Have I answered your question?
Yeah, I hear exactly what you're saying. I think I think I'm hearing you say it's important to sort of feel things out, make sure that my intention isn't to disconnect, but to connect with all the ways that we know we can connect in MVC. So I'm thinking my friend just was bemoaning the fact that she has to have knee replacement. And I heard myself saying, "Oh wow, that is so hard. I'm sorry you have to go through that. Um, how are you feeling about it? Do you have help lined up? Can I walk your dog? That kind of thing." I think I may have been slipping into fixing or trying to offer solutions and help too fast. So in that situation, I'm not sure how I could have empathized more after I said, "Oh wow, that sounds really hard. I'm sure that's disappointing to you." I don't know.
Yeah, and
What would you
maybe
have said?
I would say let's check in with you after we try some of the exercises I have planned and see if
Okay,
some of those could support you in applying it to this situation.
great. Thank you.
And was there anything, I kind of opened the floor for people to share their thoughts on sympathy? Allison, did you want to share on that, or did you have a different question?
I was impacted by that. I've heard this thing about, oh, I'm so sorry you have to go through that, at this time. And I've heard that a lot from people. So it makes me wonder if it's actually, it's being taught to us, to many people. I'm not sure what the source of it is, but it's that phrasing, that precise phrasing, I hear it quite often. And I have received it myself under certain circumstances. And so I just wanted to share how it lands for me. And I'm not saying that I have like an evaluation judgment, etc., on, that should be a no, or that's it. But just to add to the environment, here's where I go when I receive that comment, when I'm having some surprisingly undesirable in my world thing, obligation or whatever. And when they say, "I'm so sorry you have to go through that," I feel objectified. I feel like I'm an it. It's kind of like someone came along and saw a half squished bug on the road or something. I don't feel that they're seeing me at all. That I'm an it that has this, rather tragic thing that is part of your life. And it's like, it's part of you. That's why it's part of your life, that this thing is happening to you. It takes my agency away. That's how I feel. And now all you're seeing is this challenge that I'm having. And I feel that I have been put behind a screen of this experience or this event. And
Allison,
I'm not there at all.
Can I see if I'm hearing you? I would love to reflect back what I heard so far. if that's all right.
Oh, yes, that'd be great. Thank you.
Am I hearing that for you? When you hear, I'm sorry you have to go through that. When I hear you saying, I feel objectified and like I'm not seen, I wonder if there's this feeling of loneliness or disappointment, because it really, what matters to you is to be seen in your experience, in your uniqueness.
It's a part of that, but I would say, which is sort of unusual for me, because I'm very Piscean in that way. There's just way too much empathy going on for me, overdone empathy coming from me, so I get into trouble from that. No, I actually feel a kind of anger and resentment for having that you have to go through this. That right there is against my way that I want to live. Why do you assume? See, you hear the anger? Why do you assume that I have to go through that? That is a curse. You know, why aren't you helping me see? Oh, perhaps, I hear Pema children, look at the blue sky. What else is going on? What else? And my soul knows this isn't the only road. You might have to do this, but you don't start there.
So Alice, I really am hearing you, and I'm holding, like, really, I really am hearing that when you hear those words expressed, it just stimulates a lot of anger, frustration.
It's like going to jail,
Yeah,
you're going to jail because
so there's some real needs there. When you say it's like going to jail, I just think about freedom. I think about choice. I think about
opportunities, experiments, joy where you didn't expect to find it, and lowering the condemning expectations that can just make my life so limited.
So I'm going to shift. And I invite you, if there's more to share, that we're going to get into partners and have an opportunity to share and have our words reflected back. But thank you for your contributions. And I also want to kind of hold the flow of the group and have
definitely
kind of balance here. And also thank you for your authentic expression. I so enjoyed it. And Jen, did you want to share?
Yes, I'm going to ask you first. I have an example from last week of when someone said that I'm sorry you're going through this, that it really did serve life and serve me. I'm not sure if that's something you would like to hear or not. Yeah. So the situation was that my furnace was off, like not working. I had messed up the thermostat and left it to my son accidentally to try and fix, and he was angry. So he was trying to heat the house with candles and the stove on and open and all the burners on. And I was afraid my house was going to burn down. And this person, like, in sharing with them, yeah, they just said, I'm so sorry that you have to to go through this, to put up with this. But how it served life is so often with things big like that, I get something else like, you're crossing boundaries because I got upset seeing this, or something like that. You know what I mean? That there was, what am I meaning by that? I guess I'm meaning that, yeah, I've been experiencing a lot when, especially it's something big and hard for people to hold, that they can't, or they distance, or don't know what to say. But just even, yeah, hearing that I care, I'm with you. Obviously no one knows what to do with that, you know what I mean? But just that I'm with you, that it really was supportive and gave me the capacity to not just flip my lid. So
I'm hearing I'm with you, some needs met for accompaniment, companionship, acceptance,
Yeah.
So this is a great example, right? Two different people sharing, and you know, some of these responses work in some situations. And what does empathy look like? So unless there's a burning share, I'd like to switch gears. I see that your hand is up, Juliana, and I would like to maybe take your question after we've had a chance to do some experiential and some lecture, just to kind of stay in balance in the group. Does that serve you? Okay, great. So I'm going to share in this screen, right? Like, what is empathy? Or how do I understand empathy? And there's a handout that I can also include in the chat, but for now I'll do a share screen. Right, so here's like some empathy guidelines, not rules, but guidelines, right? Pause, breathe. Let's all take a deep breath together. That's my invitation. Just breathe, relax your body, consciously bring yourself to being fully present and centered. Ask yourself, what is my intention? Do I truly want to connect? Is my intention to get my own way? Remind yourself, not about me, right? And this is when we're doing other empathy. So I think a lot of us know there's 3 modes of NVC: self-empathy, other empathy, honest self-expression. This is about other empathy. This is not about me. And then extend your energy towards the person, right? But I would also invite 50%, half of your energy, to be tracking yourself. I learned that from a mentor of mine on this certification journey. 50% of my energy is on self-empathy, and 50% is on the other person. You can guess what the feelings and needs are, or you can reflect back what you heard them say. Match the energy of the other person. And then the invitation is to stay in empathy until you can sense a shift. You know, if I don't yet know of a person that has told me, you're giving me too much empathy. You know, when are you going to stop and do something else? So a big kind of mantra that I have sometimes is, my presence is enough. Because there is that conditioning that says, I should do something. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with that saying, don't just do something, sit there, right? So kind of turning that around and inviting ourselves to come back to presence and remind ourselves, my presence is enough right now. We underestimate how precious presence is, how much of a gift that is. And then when there's that shift, maybe even saying, is there more? Is there anything else? Maybe just allowing a little bit of silence, and maybe more words will come. Right? And then maybe asking if they have a request. Maybe checking in inside at that point. Is there something I want to express? Right? Because ideally, I've been giving myself empathy this whole time. I've been tracking my own feelings and needs. And so I can say, are you open to hearing what I have to say? So I'd love to put us into pairs, and Jen is going to do that. And this is going to be my invitation to you, which is person one shares for 3 minutes about anything that they want witnessed. Partner two reflects back just what you heard the person say. And I invite you to start the sentence with, what I heard you say is, because that's very different than saying what you said is. You're saying what I heard you say is. So immediately there's a sense of recognition, right? I might not have gotten it all, right? And I'm open to being corrected or having the message refined. And then I invite you to each check in how that feels. Listener, I invite you to check in on how it feels to not say anything and to just listen and track and notice if it's uncomfortable. If it's uncomfortable to not go into some of those habituated patterns or of agreeing or commiserating or whatever. And for the speaker to check in, how did it feel to have my words reflected back to me? So I will send a message through Jen in the chat when it's time to switch. Okay, and so we'll do 3 minutes for speaker one, 3 minutes for reflection. Then we'll switch, 3 minutes for speaker two, 3 minutes for reflection. And the person reflecting, if you have reflected everything and your time isn't up yet, you can say, did I miss anything? Okay. Are there any questions about this exercise?
I prefer to try to clarify as the person's saying if I don't understand, rather than to try to remember all of the stuff that I didn't get.
You can work that out with your partner. I invite you to kind of each figure out something that would support both of you. Yeah.
And Ella, so the first person shares for 3 minutes. The second person reflects back what they heard for 3 minutes. And where is it where we notice how I feel? We just do that silently, or does that?
Yes, you just do it silently.
Okay.
I invite you to kind of pause in between each 3 minutes and just take 20 seconds to just notice how that last step was. Okay, so I'll give you 3.5 minutes each so that you have that kind of 30 seconds to check in with yourself and your body. Thank you for asking. That's a great point. Anything else just about this exercise and the kind of steps of this? Yes, Jen?
I just want to make sure I got it right. So the first person shares for 3 minutes. There's a 20-second pause. And then does the other person reflect for 3 minutes, or then it's their turn to go for 3 minutes?
They reflect for 3 minutes.
Okay.
And oftentimes the reflector takes up a little less time than the person who initially shared. If that's the case, the reflecting party can ask, was there anything I missed? And then another pause, and then they switch. Is that clear, Jen?
Yeah.
There you are. Okay, yes. Great. So let's go ahead and put people into pairs, and I will
I guess just one other thing is I have one group of 3. So would you like me to adjust the timing slightly because of that, or?
I would just ask the group of 3 to time yourselves, and track your own overall time. I guess with 3.5, 3.5. So we have 7 on each side. So 15 minutes total. So with the group of 3, you can allot, 5 minutes and, figure out how it's going to work to speak and reflect. Maybe you kind of go around so everybody has a chance to speak and everybody has a chance to reflect.
All right. So then 15 minutes with a 60-second countdown. I'm going to open all rooms.
See you in a bit. Our tech angel. Very grateful for you. So I'm curious how that experience was for folks. Anything that you noticed that you want to share? Surprises? Any new information about empathy or the power of reflection or reflecting? I'd love to hear from like 3 to 5 people.
I had such a great experience with Elia. She was my partner. And when she was listening to me when I shared, I felt so amazing. I felt it opened something up in me, and I shared much more than I had thought I would. So it was really wonderful to just be heard with somebody who was really listening.
Yeah. Thank you, Deborah. You really sensed her presence and listening. And it wasn't communicated through words. There was something that I think you expressed her face, and that you actually shared more than you thought you would. Thank you.
Yeah, her really listening allowed me to share more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sensing that all of her energy was with you.
It was
allowed
like
you to share more.
I
Yeah.
was sharing about my wrist, and I thought, well, I'll just share about injuring it and hurting and stuff. But I felt so heard in the first few sentences of that. Then I moved to the next stage, and then I felt so heard there that I moved to the next stage and trying to create some solutions. And so it was very powerful.
Thank you, Deborah. Carolyn.
Yes. Well, I found that it was a very powerful experience. I think I've done something like this before, but it wasn't as good. I think it was partly me and being able to share more clearly, perhaps, than I have previously. And also the person I was with, and her listening, reflecting back, and she made me, I felt so much more heard. Oh my goodness. Very heard. And then the listening experience for me was different. I found myself really wanting to be very present and very aware so that I could reflect back to her as well as she reflected to me. And I and then I was going to say we ended up talking about it, actually, more than just sitting with ourselves. And because there was so much to share that we had to share, because we had reflected and opened up, and it was really, really, really nice, really good. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Carolyn. Hear that was powerful for you. Yes, Julia.
So I needed empathy for the conflicting kind of experience that I was having. And my conflicting experience was about this, Ella. Like I really feel in my heart that depending on the situation, I need to choose what is the most loving thing to do. And it may not be the NVC style of giving empathy, because I'm going through like if somebody has died or somebody is about to die, I cannot go and say, are you feeling sad that you're going to lose your child? I can't. I have to say, I'm so sorry. Maybe I may just be weeping with the person, So, and I think that would be the most loving thing to do. So I think I have a choice always about what is the most loving thing to do in the moment. And so this was my kind of conflict within me. It may be that I just need to sit in silence and weep in silence, or I need to say I'm sorry, and I know that's sympathy and not empathy when I say I'm sorry. I'm so sad. I mean, that would be the most loving thing to do for me in the moment. And that would be, I would do that by choice.
Can I see if I'm just catching how much you want to be authentic and show up in deep love that is authentic to you and your expression of love? And that for you, that is a important thing for you to feel a sense of freedom and choice and spaciousness around how you want to show up for people. Yeah. I'm very grateful that you shared that, because it brings up something for me that I love to share with people, especially when I'm asked to teach in organizations with people who have never heard of nonviolent communication. And that is that I'm not an evangelist. And I don't think that NVC is the way. It's a way. And it offers us more options. And it offers us the opportunity to unlearn certain behaviors so that there's choice, right? And that for me, that meets my need for choice, to share with folks, hey, this is an added tool. This is an added opportunity to kind of use these tools if they serve and when they serve. And I get to discern when to use these tools. Thank you, Juliana. I'm going to...
Thank you, Ella. Thank you. I get to discern and choose,
Yeah.
What is the most loving thing, most connecting thing to do in that situation?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So grateful. Thank you. Tanya, did you want to share?
Actually, I want to dispute what you just said.
Oh, okay.
Because NVC is not Offner.
Mm-hmm.
And NVC is not saying this or that.
Mm-hmm.
NVC is based on empathy, which is a respectful understanding of another person's experience. So this is what Juliana just said. I want to be respectful of the other person's experience, and noting very correctly that using any kind of stilted language or formula in any circumstance is not NVC. Coming from your heart and speaking directly to the situation, whatever it is, that is NVC. And also, Caroline brought up not speaking is also NVC. In fact, Marshall Rosenberg says, if I speak when I'm with someone, it's because I feel that I have a question or I'm not aligned with that person. He said, I'm not aligned with that person, meaning I feel some space between me and the other person. And I ask a question, or in that with the question could be, are you feeling That's a question. So I ask a question in order for me to feel more aligned with that person. So
Tanya,
asking,
can you see if I'm catching you so far so that I have a sense of really getting what you're saying before you
Yeah.
continue?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would it be okay if I paused for a moment so that I can connect with myself?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, so I heard you say that you dispute what I shared, that for you and in your understanding of NVC is not Offner. It is not rules and steps. It is the consciousness. It is a consciousness of compassion, curiosity, empathy. Yeah. And that you heard that expressed in what Juliana shared and also in what Carolyn shared. Yeah, the presence, compassionate presence is the heart. That is NVC, as Marshall expressed it, as you understand it. Did I catch you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there more?
I think I feel defensive of Marshall's legacy because I teach nonviolent communications in a prison. And so I read and reread his first book. And so when I hear things that are contradicted by what he says in this book, the people labeling NVC in ways that is contradictory to what Marshall actually says in his book, I have a tendency to speak up about that because his book is ever present with me. And what he actually says about what NVC is in his first book is really present with me at all times. So that's why I say things like this.
Yeah, can I just reflect that back?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm hearing that you feel really, you didn't say really, but you feel defensive, that you really want to protect Marshall Rosenberg's legacy, that you offer this teaching. It's so valuable and precious. And the integrity of these teachings really matters to you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you hear NVC taught, or when you hear words that you don't understand as in alignment with your understanding of what Marshall said, it really stirs up some needs for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you so want this work to contribute to people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for hearing me.
Yeah. Would you be willing to hear me express a little bit about what is alive in me, Tanya?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I guess I feel a little confused
Mm-hmm.
because I feel totally in alignment with everything that came out of your mouth as I understood it. And it's possible that because of the time and the lateness of time that, I sense that I'm a little foggy. And that maybe I expressed something and it came out in a different way than how I understood it in my head. So I guess I'm trying to kind of longing.
And it also could be that what you were reflecting was what Juliana was saying, in some way. And it sounded to me like So I got that you were reflecting, Juliana, and then I heard some piece that seemed like an add on to that. And everything that you've said and all of your reflection really gives me ease and encouragement, because I hear you speaking now in alignment with Marshall Rosenberg.
Yeah. So I'm hearing how I'm expressing myself now and how I'm reflecting your words, it brings you a sense of ease and settling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Need for some alignment and maybe accuracy or something around congruence between how I'm showing up and your understanding of NVC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm grateful for your expression. And I want to use this as an opportunity to maybe jump off some of what you shared so that I know that I've spoken clearly. I do not consider OFNR to be the same as NVC. I consider observation, feeling, need, request, those 4 steps as the map that can support me in getting back into the road that takes me towards compassionate presence when I'm so habituated towards judgment and blame, other blame and self-blame. And as a matter of fact, I really enjoy role playing how to do what I call shitty NVC. And I'll do an observation, feeling, need, and request with total demand energy so that people can kind of get, right, that you can go through the steps and do it right. And that can lead to disconnection, right? Because the what NVC is to me is a consciousness and presence. And I don't share this with beginners or, in organizations, but I'll share it with you that NVC is a spiritual practice. It's my spiritual practice. So that's my understanding of NVC. So to just offer further clarification of kind of my paradigm and where I come from in this work. And Josie, you've had your hand up for a while, so I'd like to hear from you if you still have something to share.
I do. I wanted to share as partly as a practice for me because I feel triggered right now, and I think I'm feeling hurt on your behalf. And I'm also feeling really confused because from the very beginning of this meeting, I have sensed that you've been speaking from your heart. And I maybe it's just me. It might just be me. Maybe I'm really tired, but I've not heard you mention Offner or any steps that we have to go through. And I think because I'm sensing such love and tenderness from you that I feel hurt that it seemed like you were so misunderstood. Or I'm not I don't want to say that this is my impression. This is not a judgment, but my feeling and my impression was that you were being judged for the way you were presenting. And I was like, what is going on? So anyway, I just wanted to say that out loud. And I know, I feel pretty sure that was not the intention, but that was how I took it. So, and I'm really confused. Can somebody, is it appropriate to ask, like, Can somebody offer some clarity about where that came from?
Would it be okay first, Josie, if I just reflect back the feelings and needs?
Sure, yeah, because that's what I've been hearing you do the whole night anyway, but yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, just really catching this feeling of hurt and confusion, longing for understanding, your own understanding, and also hearing that when you heard Tanya express certain things to me, that also stimulated a need for you for understanding, and maybe congruence between what you experienced, your experience of me, and the words that you were hearing. Some kind of disconnect there. And I'm also hearing that you maybe like some clarity, and I am hesitant to go in that direction because I'm holding the kind of greater picture of this group, and I guess I'm feeling torn. Part of me feels like this could really be a learning opportunity and really kind of, just work with it and utilize this very kind of real moment of activation to practice this, this language. And then another part of me is holding care for people who may not have shared, who maybe want to have a more contained experience with exercises that have some structure. And so I wonder if you would be open to doing like a breakout room when it's time to do breakout rooms, for you to ask those questions, Josie. Would that support you in, right? I'm looking and exploring what are some strategies that might meet lots of needs in this space with the diverse folks here.
Just kind of blown away right now that you're as good at this as you are, because I think that's so wise. Holding concern for the greater good, for everybody's needs. And yes, a small group. I didn't know we had enough time to do that, but that would be really helpful for me. I don't know about for everybody else. I know everybody here has their own feelings and thoughts about this. So maybe it'd be really helpful for everybody.
Well, I was actually going to do a journaling process and have people get into groups to discuss it. And so how about we go ahead and we move forward with journaling, and then we'll see if there is a certain group of people that want to unpack this, really with a focus on expressing feelings and needs. And I would encourage people to journal their thoughts, get them all out, right? And to see if they can identify what's the emotion, what's happening in my body, and what need is that emotion connected to. So how about we all do that now? I wonder if we could all just take a breath and go inside. And if you have the ability to just relax your muscles, your shoulders, lower your gaze or close your eyes. I wonder, what is alive in my body right now? What sensations are there? Where do I notice tension or trembling? Where do I notice shakiness or heaviness? Where do I notice ease? So we're shifting to self-empathy now. What is alive in me, in this body? Where is there discomfort and where is there comfort? And can I allow these sensations to support me in identifying an emotion? Let's just start with, do I feel mad, sad, scared, glad? See if you can just find one and then maybe become more nuanced. Oh, I'm feeling a little scared. But I guess it's more of like an uneasiness, right? And I invite you to write down, if you have a paper with you, to write down what the emotion is that is alive in you. And I am going to share screen with some feelings, with a nice feelings list. Some people in the therapeutic realm say, name it to tame it. By identifying the word, by being able to label the emotion, there's just a little bit of spaciousness from that emotion. Maybe a need met for clarity. Ah, that's what I'm feeling. That's what's alive in me. Please raise your hand if you have not yet identified an emotion or two that's alive for you. If you have, I invite you to just come back to your body, to welcome that emotion. Ask the emotion, where are you in my body? I'm not seeing raised hands, so I'm going to stop this share. And now I'm going to share a needs list and invite you to identify what needs are connected to this emotion. What needs are alive in me now? Can people raise their hand if they've identified a need or two that's alive in them, that connects to what they're feeling? Yes, we have some raised hands here. Okay. Just give another minute. Is there anyone who has not yet identified a need that is alive in them now? I can't quite tell, Sterling, if your hand came up in the first time I asked or the second. Or how, can you give me a thumbs up if you've identified some needs? All right, great. I'm going to stop the share. And I'm wondering, I'm kind of improvising here. And let me check in with you, Jen. How much time is left here?
Thank you, Ella. So there is about 18 minutes left, and I'm noticing for this special request that my bandwidth is a little bit low, and I would love for people to be able to get in breakout rooms quickly. So yeah.
You cut out, so I did not hear.
Thank you. So there is 18 minutes left, Ella. And then the next piece is I'm noticing my bandwidth is a tiny bit low to try and organize this special kind of breakout. And yeah, I'm concerned it would take at least 5 minutes to get that put together. If we do it that way, I'm willing, but I just wanted you to know that it would take me a few minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you for your transparency. So I'm going to improvise here. And I'd love to hear what needs are alive in folks who are willing to share. I'd love to hear from like 7 or 8 people, just the needs alive or the feelings and needs, but without any other kind of peripheral thoughts, for the sake of time and connection and flow. Amber?
Needs for appreciation.
Thank you.
Roxana, yeah, I would go with discovery and growth and harmony. Yeah.
Discovery, growth, harmony. Thank you. Sterling.
My feeling was glad and learning and inclusion were some of the needs. But I'm very glad to see what happened and how it was dealt with.
Thank you.
Learning opportunity for me.
Yeah. Thanks, Sterling. Anybody else want to share feelings alive in them or the needs alive? Yes, Sarah.
A feeling of concern and needs for care, understanding, and spaciousness.
Juliana. Thank you, Sarah.
My feeling of gratitude and my need for exploration and learning and growth, a never-ending process for me. Thank you. Thank you, Ella. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Carolyn, and then Deborah.
Yeah, well, I have two strong feelings of excitement and fear. And I can tell the fear is underneath the excitement, and I think it's a fear of failure. So I think I have a need for success.
If you had success, Carolyn, is it okay if I ask you some questions about this?
Yes.
You had success, what would that give you?
Yes, well, that would give me something like peace of mind, ease, feeling that I had been heard, that some progress was being made. Yeah, so, but the basic ones would be peace of mind and ease, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm using this to kind of tease through this, what I understand needs to be, which is this energy, so essence. that comes from this kind of life energy. My understanding of the word success, which might be different than your understanding of it, I register it as a strategy to get my needs met. And so that's why I asked that question.
Well, I feel as though the need for success is what, at least the way I'm thinking of it is giving me the feeling of fear, a fear of failure. So, and I have definitely got a lot of that. So, yeah, so I don't know how to look at this, what I feel, it seems like a need to me.
Yeah. And it might be for you. It might be a different understanding of success. It's an invitation. I connect success with a result, with a desired result happening. And so because of that, then I get curious. If that desired result happened, what need would be met there? Because then I'm not so attached to that desired result, right? I'm not so attached to the strategy because I'm cherishing the need, knowing that there are multiple strategies to meet that need. So just something to, maybe explore. There's more time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. So doing another time check, Jen.
You had said maybe I could go too.
Yeah, sure. Oh yes, I did say that.
But you want to hear Jen's time check?
No, I'm grateful for you tracking and supporting me in tracking, Deborah.
So I noticed that I feel hungry, so I have a need for food. I'm tired, I have a need for sleep, and that I am happy and glad to be with you, Ella, and with everyone in this state of empathy and understanding. I feel my heart feels very filled up by this experience that I'm having. And when the needs list went up, I had many needs that were met for acceptance, understanding, compassion, inclusion, authenticity, self-expression, ease, hope, and space. And I feel so wonderful to be here.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Deborah. Taking that in.
Yeah, thank you to you and to everyone, and just to how you've held the class, and just seeing how much I can learn from talking to one person and then including everyone too, and holding that space that you continually did all night.
Thank you. Thanks. Deep breath there. Jen, where are we at with time?
So with time, we have 10 minutes remaining of the call.
10 minutes remaining of the call. I'm not typically as improvisational, and it seems really appropriate because this is a practice group and we're practicing. So curious, is there anything that anybody wants to practice expressing using self-empathy together with honest self-expression? They might have the ability to state an observation, express what they felt and what need is alive in them, and maybe make a request. And I'm seeing hands up with Jeff and Josie. So Jeff, we haven't heard from you yet today. So how about you speak first?
Thank you. I'm grateful for the space. I think that by coming in an hour late, I started out with frustration as a feeling, frustration in myself for not knowing more. And you asked for honest expression. I have a hard time in nonviolent communication circles with the amount of reflection being repeating back. I tend to lose connection there pretty quickly. And especially if there's multiple people who are being reflected and it kind of goes back and I lose it. And so I identified the way I've learned nonviolent communications that there's some feelings that I have when needs are not met and some feelings that I have when needs are met. And so with frustration, I went to like, what might I still be needing? And I wanted like movement or progress or challenge for myself. And so in my experience of hearing what went on tonight, I kind of was sitting back with apprehension, some excitement about like, ooh, where will this go, or how will this be worked out, or anyway. So that's my honest self-expression.
Is there a request that you'd like to make of yourself?
Probably not to be on camera in bed with my teddy bear next to me. That would be my request, not to do that in the future.
Specifically around your needs for movement, challenge.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Learning.
No, my request is to myself to be patient and to let go of my supposed outcome that I have and let the class be the class and accept what is without judgment. So it's a request. That's my request to myself.
Great, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Josie and then Amber.
I'm giving myself self-empathy because I noticed how much fear was involved in my reaction. And I traced it back, you know, when you mentioned asking the emotion to give us information about what the need was. And I was realizing that I had a need for harmony and peace. And yeah, I'm getting tired, so I can't come up with any others, but I also felt a sense of urgency for movement, for resolution, and and I was feeling anger because I was feeling like this sounds like a right wrong corrective, you know, like who's right, who's wrong kind of thing, and I was really averse to that. And I realized that also triggers in me some self-empathy for the fact that I am one who died to that a lot. Like I want to know who's right and wrong a lot. So anyway, I think all of this touched some very tender places in me that are just talking about them, naming them is part of the healing process for me. And I feel so thankful for a safe place to express this. So with that, I'll pass unless you have a question.
I think that that's great that you expressed yourself, Josie, and I will just thank you and we'll keep going. Yeah, I appreciate what you shared and all the various needs you expressed. Yes, Amber.
Yeah, I'm noticing I have like both agitation and then also like this feeling of gratitude that I'm holding. And so I'm an NVC trainer candidate. So I'm really super grateful that I got to witness how this was handled, because I know like I've had experiences where, well, I have a lot of fear around leading groups. And so, and the major fear is someone, what I perceive like attacking me or arguing with what I'm saying. So, because for me, I really feel it's important to appreciate the person who's taking on the role of leading and acknowledge that appreciation, because I think for me, it takes a lot. I have a lot of compassion for being in that role. And I won't, like, if I have an issue with someone, I would maybe say it on the side, not in the whole group, one-on-one, to make sure that I was actually, my interpretations were accurate. So I guess I was actually going to leave early, and I thought, no, I need to watch this because I really love how you took the time to journal, the time to self-empathy. And even I notice I'm nervous in the honest expression because I want to be really, really careful and kind in how I articulate myself. So I'm just appreciating the practices that you showed today, because this I will use as a candidate when I'm like, oh my goodness, when I'm leading, and I'm in Cambodia where there is no NVC, there's going to be brand new people that will just say what they interpret or what they think, and I need to be prepared. So this was a great modeling for me. So I'm super appreciating that, and I'm also appreciating other people's expressions. I do get uncomfortable when we get into right and wrong within NVC as well, because I think it can kind of, this is an interpretation. Well, I'll just stop there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing, Amber. And as a newly certified trainer, I feel excitement when I hear that you're on the candidacy journey, and lots of memories come up around how terrified I felt. So that's me blending a little empathy with storytelling. Yeah. You see that? See that? I tied it all around. And I see, I don't know, Josie, if you have more to say or if your hand is just still up from last time. And then Allison, I'm seeing you, and then it's time to close and just have a little chitty chatty time afterwards, which I've learned is what you guys have after this. So Allison, did you want to
Hi, yes, I just have one.
Yeah,
it's very, very short. It's like one sentence. Today's adventure made me remember my very, very early days with Marshall and what he was offering. And in those early days, it wasn't called nonviolent communication. He originally called it compassionate communication. And I thought a lot of the rumblings that we did today, I just kept going back to that. I'm not sure how it became nonviolent communication. There's a brittleness to that, to me. It's English. But it made me go back to the roots of compassionate communication. That's what he called it. So I thought that was, it was comforting to me. It kind of was a container in remembering that way of naming it. Seemed to, it was soft and it was like getting a hug. So I wanted to give to the rest of you a hug.
Thank you, Alice. I'm catching the gentleness in that. There's something in your voice, or I notice myself having a need met for gentleness. So thank you. And thank you all. Thank you for this session. I got a lot out of it. Very grateful for this teaching on empathy. And I will pass the baton to Jen, who will switch us up. And I